2020. I have an honor here to host a very distinguished guests, very important individuals who have volunteered their time to involve in a decision making. So thank you so much, for joining us tonight. As usual, it is 7 p.m. on eastern coast of the United States and 4 p.m. here on the western coast of the United States. Tonight we have a very important, as I said, I will be hosting a member of city council from various city. From Portland, Maine, I will have Mr. Pious Ali, who is the first migrant African to be elected to a city council in Portland, Maine, and also in Syracuse, New York. We will have Mr. Chol Awan, South Sudanese American, who was elected as a city council member in Syracuse, New York, too, will join us momentarily, and also a volunteer, very active, a member of Democratic Party in Syracuse, Miss Jan Juba. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. It is so honored, as I said, to host you tonight. Very important topic here we are going to discuss together, as I indicated on my post, that actually we are supporting Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to win the White House because we believe in them and we believe they are going to change and make a change in American people life. Tonight, our focus will be unity of American. And also we'll be talking about the pandemic. And all of you are aware that how Mr. Donald Trump handled that issues, it was not successful at all. And also our third topic will be the foreign policy. And we know what happened to adversary and the friend and ally of the United States. An issue of taxes would be number 4. You all aware that how the Republican parties are using scare tactics, telling the people that actually, if Democrat win the White House, they are going to raise your tax. And actually, that's not true. If you make less than $400,000 a year, your tax will not be up. But if you make more than that, of course, it doesn't hurt to pay a little bit, to the government. And also, we are going to discuss and tackle the issue of character. And you have heard and you have seen how Donald J. Trump has handled himself, misconduct himself for the last 4 years. Americans, they have been living a miserable life, stress, and so on. So, gentlemen, I welcome all of you to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. Let me go ahead and put you here on the screen, and then we will start our very discussion tonight. I will see there Mr. Pious from Payne, Maryland, who I said the first African migrant to be elected to a city council. So welcome, my dear brother, to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. We are talking about very important issues tonight. So let me go ahead and bring in Mr. Chol Awan, also the member of city council in Syracuse, New York, who I tend to be coming from the same country. We are South Sudanese American. And I know Chol also was a lost boy of Sudan. And I am going to bring in Jan Juba, which is a very active lady in Democratic Party. And she is a volunteer, registering the borders, going and knocking the doors and doing canvas. And I know all of you have been doing such a work. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. Let me go ahead and start with you. Nice. Go ahead. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you.
All right. So I want to start with you. How did you start this? How did you get there? So to create a confidence in our people, because our people actually, they need to involve. If they are not voting, then they are not part of decision making. So I want to give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you involved in politics in the U.S. and what all the African migrant, all the citizens in this country, what do they need to do in this very, very important and crucial election? I yield the floor to you, sir.
So thank you very much, Brother John Cole. I am honored to be here with you alongside my 2 friends. So I left Ghana in 2000, came to New York, and then I left New York in 2002, and I moved to Portland, Maine. When I moved to Portland, Maine, The first job I had was at a restaurant. And then a few years later, I think a year and a half or two later, I had a job working with young people in public housing neighborhoods. Being someone who was an immigrant and just came to this country period like 2 or 3 years earlier, working with these young people, most of whom are immigrants, and other young people who are mainstream Americans coming from economically disadvantaged background, families who don't have resources, got me to understand a lot of things in this country around politics, around decision making, around policy. And you said something that if you are not at the table, then the decision will be made anyway, whether you participate or not. Someone will make that decision. And that decision will impact you, whether you like it or not, one way or the other. So after working with young people for so many years, I decided. Someone called me one day and say, "Hey, you want to run for school board?" That was in 2013, and that was almost close to 11 years after I have lived here. The person called me and said, "You want to run for school board?" And I said, "I'm not interested." And the person said, "Why not?" And I said, "I don't like politics." And this individual said, "Well, everything that you've been doing is politics. You've organized protests in downtown. You've gone. I've seen you gone to school board and talk on behalf of kids that you work for." She lined up so many things that I do. She said that is politics, and I said, "I'm not interested in organized politics." I said that is activism. That is not organized politics. We went from back, and I said to her, "I will find someone to run, but I'm not interested." I went around asking people, "Hey, do you want to run?" Nobody was interested. So I decided to run. There were 2 seats, and 6 people were running. And I was able to, the people of Portland saw the value of the work that I've done in the community, speaking on behalf of immigrants like me, not just immigrants, because there are no Ghanaians here. We have Sudanese, Southern Sudanese, we had Somalis, we have people from South America, many different parts of part of the country. But I became part of the community. I built a community for myself. I don't think we need to come from somewhere to build a community here. Once you find a group of people that you have shared values and shared lived experience, we are all immigrants. And the challenges that we face are similar, whether we understand the language or not, whether we understand the culture or not. So I took everything that I learned from the kids and applied it in working with the community and the families. And so I got elected to the school board in 2013. I was on the school board for 3 years. Then came the current president. Before he came, because our communities do not have like a relationship with people who are elected in office, only few people do. I was on the school board. Issues that are not school board issues so continue to come to me. And so when I saw an opportunity in 2016 to run for city council, I did run, and same thing, I got elected. What is for me the impact of my work is not so much that I got elected to school board and city council. Since I got elected after me, so many immigrants saw that before I ran, others have run without success. But when the moment I got elected and I moved on to the city council, other how do we call it? Other immigrants ran currently, and Brother Chol met with some of them when we went to DC, where I met with him. So many years ago, I went to DC like him. I will be there by myself. I'm the only one from Maine. And then last year, when I was going, I went with about 6 or 7 other people. And everybody started asking me, "You came here a few years ago by yourself, and now you are here. You bring a lot of people."
Yes.
That's how you make change. If you get lucky or God gave you the opportunity to move up, you have to look behind and make sure that other people also learn from you, and you share the experience that you learn, and you work with them to also, because none of us can make any change by ourselves. We all need someone to work with. Even though these individuals are not from my city, they live in different towns around the state. We all come together once in a while. We connect on Zoom and look at issues that impact our communities, and how can we collectively work together to move the change that we see in our towns and in our cities and probably across the country. And thank you very much. I'm very honored to be a part of this conversation tonight.
So incredible. Pious. Work that we have done got you to be elected as a city council member in Portland, Maine. We have a lot of South Sudanese American in Portland, Maine. I know them by name. So thank you so much, for joining us tonight. We are going to continue. Let me go ahead and move to Mr. Chol Awan Majak. Chol, welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. As I said from the beginning, you were a lost boy of Sudan. And, so far, the only South Sudanese city council member elected in the United States. If somebody knows anyone else, I am more than happy to hear. But so far, it's only you that I know. I want to give you that an opportunity. Why it's so important to involve. Sean, go ahead.
Well, first of all, Junko, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much for putting this together. It is an honor indeed to be with you. It's so good to see my friend Pious here with us, as well as my sister Jan Juba. Jan Juba and I are diehard Democrats here in Syracuse. So it's so good to see her here. And so thank you for hosting this. So to start with your question, you know, I learned a while back that community is what people put in it. If you have people that are passionate about where they live and what they do,
Correct.
a community would be really strong. So for me, I took that. I take that very seriously, and I took that very seriously, and I continue to live by that. And like Pius, I got interested in this because people encourage me, but most importantly, this prior to even coming to the United States, this has been a dream of mine. This has been a passion of mine to be in public service. I was inspired by my father. My father was one of the first infantry in the SPLA movement and the SPLA movement. So I learned a lot from him, what it means to give to others, what it means to care about the place you live in. So I picked a lot from him in that sense. And then when I came to United States, I had the opportunity to pursue that, to be a public servant and to serve the place I live in. So I deeply care about this place, and the reason why I care deeply about this place I live in is because I would have done the same thing if I was in South Sudan. If I take care of this place, who would? That's why getting involved in public service is such an important thing to me, and we have to continue to do that to be able to show to the next generation what it means to really care about the community you live in. Second part, Junko, as to why I get involved is if you have lived the life that we have lived in South Sudan and in Lost Boys days and in all those refugee days, you would getting involved it would not even be a negotiation because it's we were I always say we were refugees because somebody did not recognize that it was important for others to exist next to them. Somebody did not recognize the importance of them living in a place that is dignified and in a place that is respected and in a place that feel like home and volunteering and getting involved exactly is that it's a sense to pursue dignity, to show dignity, and to live dignity.
Yes.
That's why I get involved a lot, and I'm hoping that I create a space where my kids are living a better life than I did back in refugees camp in northern part of Kenya and back in South Sudan.
Chol, thank you so much. That's very encouraging to your children, and you can be a role model to other South Sudanese American actually who wanted to involve, but they don't know where to start. So thank you so much. It was a long journey to fight. in the bush, become a lost boys, going there,
Yeah.
and refugees, and coming to America. So thank you. I will get back to you. Now, to our only lady, and the only one that she's involved, the South Sudanese American, Jan Juba. I know that you left the country and you were so small, so little, but you know what? You are doing wonderful and awesome job. So I welcome you, and I encourage you for the well done job that you have been doing. I know that you have been doing a lot of canvassing, knocking the doors, talking to the voters. Why it's so important to involve and what it needed. Particularly, you are campaigning for Dana. I don't recall her last name very well. So, Janjuba, I want to give you an opportunity, to go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to do this. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. I think
Mm.
this show is really great, for everyone to see that, even though this is our second home, it's important that we become involved in everything that affect us as, residents.
Mm.
And I became involved when I moved here in New York. I noticed how people like Chol, were out there,
Mm.
getting involved, people who in politics and figuring out like what is going on and want to know who are the decision makers and why don't we have seats where they're making decisions for us as
Mhm.
the residents. And I became very very interested, and I was like, okay, so I started following him. So I
Mm.
became a diehard Democrat when I started following him, and now I'm unstoppable. I get involved in almost every campaigns. And as you mentioned before, I am one of the community organizers for Dana Bolter. She's running
Mhm.
for Congress.
Mm.
She's running against John Katko.
Mm.
And before I get involved, as I advise everybody else, like get to know the candidate, find out, what is their agenda? Is it something that align with your values? Is it something that will benefit you and your community?
Mm.
Is this person truly, capable or able to do that job? Or are they just, looking for people, to vote and just get to the office and then ignore you afterwards? So it wasn't hard to get involved, but it is time consuming, and it's not paid most of the time,
Mm.
so you'll have to volunteer your time. I remember I used to get out of work at 5, and then I'm at Juanita campaign from 5 to like 9 p.m, you
Mhm.
know canvassing and knocking the doors. And as of today, we actually did canvassing on the north side, so we were there for like 3 hours walking around, giving away literature and all that stuff. So it's important that we be involved, because I want to know who's making decision on my behalf. And if I'm not sitting at that table, I
Mm.
want to know who's sitting at that table so I can know more of what is going on, rather than just have people making decisions for us. So I encourage everybody, South Sudanese, if you're a U.S. citizen, don't just use your citizenship for passport. Don't just use it to go from here to another country. Use that to benefit yourself here. Get involved in the school district. Get involved in politics. You don't have to run for office if you don't want to, but you
Mhm.
can at least get to know who's running and who's making decisions on your behalf, and ask the important questions. So I encourage everybody to get involved and go out and vote.
Jan Juba, it's so phenomenal to see you involving and encouraging people. I know it's a long journey. When I live in Salt Lake City in Utah, I did campaign for Mayor Ralph Becker. Unfortunately, we did not win the election because he was running for the third term. And you know that Americans, they don't like somebody to stay in office for a very long time. So we lost.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, I decided, to move out of Utah and come here to instead of Washington. Now I live in Seattle. Yes, we need to involve. Without involvement, we will not be part of the decision making. We need to know exactly what you said, know what is the agenda, what they stand for. Is that going to help you? Is that going to help your community? And that's how we see people are flourishing and moving, and progress is happening. So back to you, my dear brother, Pious. And you see a sticker here on my chest tonight. I voted. I did vote. Okay. I supposed to do it on 26th of October, but I did not have enough time. But today, here in Seattle, we have that opportunity in King County. The King County's name, for Martin Luther King. And I was
Mhm.
able to go tonight and vote and get two witnesses, because sometimes I'm worried about the signature. Maybe my signature is not going to match up, and I want to make sure that my ballot is not throwing away. So I got two signatures in there to be witnessed. So I voted, my dear brother. I want to ask you a direct question. Of course, lot of migrants, like my sister mentioned, that they wanted to enjoy that freedom to have the U.S. passport and travel all over the world, but they are not involved. They are not participating. From your own perspective, why do you think it's so important, particularly in this year, why they need to vote? Why do they need to do this? Right.
Yeah, when I started, I said something that if you don't get involved, someone else will, and that person may or may not represent your value. We saw that in 2016 when the current president was running. He kept saying, "I will do this," and people heard him, and they said, "Oh, he's not going to win." And then some people said, "Well, we're not going to vote because we don't like the other person." And we all know what happened. Whether we agree with him or not, whether we voted for him or not, the decision that he took impacted our lives, both here and back home. So, and I will add something. Don't just vote, get involved. Because the democratic system, the American democratic system, and for that matter, democratic system where in the world does not start and end with a ballot box, right? Here, when I get chance to talk to everyone who live in my city, because I'm an at-large councillor, I represent the whole city. What I say to people is, when you vote for me, even me, I know those of you who are here, who I'm speaking to, you agree with me. Even me, that you agree with, that you believe I have the same value as you. When you vote me and you get me in office, don't leave me alone. Keep asking me, why do you vote it that way? Keep question the decisions that I make. Meet with me constantly and push what you want to see. Because if you don't, I will do what I want. And maybe it doesn't how do we call it? It doesn't reflect what you want. Maybe we agree on some things. But if you constantly keep engaging me and keep pushing me, be part of the process. My sister here mentioned school boards, your neighborhood association. Every have commissions and the park commission, the snow plowing committee. All these people, even though they are not elected, they impact our everyday life. Get involved in all of that. Today, I mean in 2013 when I was running, some people think I was crazy. 2016 when I ran, there was a little bit of today when I canvass and I went to a specific neighborhood that have a lot of immigrants, I was proud. Why? Because almost I went there with a friend of mine and we divided the neighborhood into two. I said to him, go this way, I'll go this way. By the time we met, I think about 85% of the immigrants that we talked have already voted, literally. And I was like, I am impressed because 2013, they even asked me, why are you doing this? 2016, they went and voted because of the current president and also because they want me to get elected. I ran against two other people. This year, by the time I got to other neighborhoods to knock on doors for others, I'm not on the ballot. They have already voted. And the few who have not voted are aware, they know who is running. They know that there are two people from our community, one from Southern Sudanese and one from the Southern Sudan, and the other one from the Somali community. Unfortunately, they're running against each other for school board. These community members know. They kept saying to me, "Oh yeah." Actually, they were asking me, "Why are you not canvassing for the two of them? You're only canvassing for city council." And I said, "My job, my daytime job, I have to work with the school board, so I cannot be involved with the school board." Yeah, I have to explain that to them. But I'm excited because our communities are getting involved day in and day in and day in and on and on. It is not going to be happen overnight because we have different spectrums. We have a wider spectrum of people in our communities. Those who want to get involved, like those of us who are having this conversation, and those who don't want to have anything to do with politics because of clear, how do we call it, experience from where they're coming from. And those who don't have no understanding. So those of us who are involved need to continuously, once we get moved up, let's stay connected to the communities that we represent. Not just our people, but the whole city that we represent. Let's stay connected to the ground so that whatever decision that we take does impact the people that we represent. And that way we can bring members of our community internally into the conversation, into the fold, so that their voice will be heard and validated. None of us can speak for all of our communities. Let's bring them along with us.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the spirit that we want, to involve everybody so we can share the same. My dear brother, Shol, this is my fourth time to vote in America. In 2008, after I got my US citizen, I had like 2 months to register and vote. The day that I finished the swearing ceremony, I went to Salt Lake County right away with my certificate and I voted and I registered. So in 2008, I was able to vote for President Barack Obama. I was inspired, by his message that one person can change the room, you can change the house, and the neighborhood, and the city, and the state, and then you can make difference in people's life. Now, I see that you guys are there, but that's not the end of it. More people will fall through, and more people actually will be interested and go and knock the doors and help Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to be elected. So, my dear brother Shol, we keep hearing from member of the Republican Party, saying that if Joe Biden win the White House, they are going to raise your taxes. How relevant is that? Please.
My brother, I don't think that's relevant at all. The reason I say I don't think it's relevant is because, see, as Democrats, we understand the power of fairness to be able to make sure that everyone at the table has a voice, everyone at the table is well represented. As Democrats, what we are saying is that anyone that make a little bit more should pay a little bit more. You see? But overall, the way the system works is that those that pay little pay more. That is the of every Democrat. That's a message of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and that's my message here at a local level to make sure that that fairness is across the board. And our fight as Democrat is to make sure that the process, the playing field is well level to everyone ability. If you are a millionaire, you should be paying a little bit more than somebody that make $30,000.
Yes.
That I'm not a mathematician. I'm not they're great in math, but a simple math that says that if you make $1 million, there is no reason why you shouldn't be paying more than the person that makes $30,000. That is the consistent message across democratic system. A Democratic Party across the nation here, and that message is why we are trusting Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to take this message to the White House. If we are doing the work here at the local level to make sure that people recognize that fairness need to work across the aisle, we also want somebody at the White House to also make sure that that message is consistent across. So I don't think it is a right. A message out there that is a wrong rhetoric to put out there that Joe Biden and the Biden and Harris ticket is a ticket to raise taxes. That is not fair. Now, we have to encourage our people, Junko, to make sure that they vote.
Yes.
Because voting is accountability. This is the way where Biden and Harris can be held accountable. I keep going to where we came from. Where we came from is how it is because the accountability process is so low. You see, it's so low. And here in the United States, it's higher because we as a citizen elect those who represent us. And if they don't carry out our message and our interests, we vote them out. You see, this is the way to vote people out.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if people know, but today, currently in South Sudan, especially in the state of Jonglei, the flood has completely overran Bo Town.
Correct.
Water are like 6 feet high, and not a single Jonko, not a single elected official came there to see those people. Those lives matter. Those lives matter, and because there is no accountability, that's why they continue to be the way they are. That's why they continue to not care about those people that are being displaced. But here in America, we can vote those people out.
Yes.
We can vote those people out. So Biden and Harris ticket is the right ticket. Let's vote them in.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chol, for answering that question. Jan Juba, the issues of character, okay, foreign policy, are on the table this year. We have seen how Donald Trump, is betrayed the United States, withdrawing from the most important, the human rights organization. I cannot imagine a sitting US president can do that. So you have heard the issue of taxes. They've been using tactics. The other day, a friend of mine, she's a woman from here, called me and said, Jonko, why are you voting for Joe Biden? They are going to raise the tax. My mother-in-law said that. And I said, no, it's not going to happen. Joe Biden made it clear. If you make more than $400,000, and then you will not see any in your paycheck, right? Take it from me and take it from him. That's how it is. This is a scare tactic. So you may think, oh, they are going to raise my taxes, so I should not go and vote for them. And that's it, Jan Juba, issue of character, foreign policy. What would you advise those Americans? Because not a lot of people knows what's going on around the world. And the United States has been a big sister, a big brother. It's stabilized and balancing the power all over the world. I want you to send a strong message here. Go ahead.
There's a lot of misinformation going around. I think people are not taking the time to research, and they're not taking the time to actually listen to the candidates that are actually campaigning. They're taking a snippet from the news. So when news will highlight one subject and they run with it, and then people run with it as well. What I would advise, if I were to hear this candidate is doing something, I personally would do my research. I'll go into their website, I'll find out their platform, and then I will read their platform as to what they are supporting. So when you go to their website, to their campaign website, they always have more detailed explaining each subject or each issue and how they will tackle it if elected or when elected. So I would suggest you research them first. Don't just run with the news highlight, because that's how the news make their money, And nowadays, our current president have made it our current president had normalized the scare tactics. So everyone, even some of the Republican candidate, they are using that. So now you see some of the commercials is like, they're portraying this candidate as being this person. For example, if you elect Dana Bolter, she will release all the criminals out. And then you have these people in suburbia saying, just because of her supporting this bill that she didn't even create, we all not going to be safe in our neighborhood. But that's not true. The bail reform is actually going to help people that are not able to afford to pay for bail. And that's not for like the big criminals. It's people that committed a minor crimes, but they don't have $1,000 or $2,000 to bail themselves out. And then you have the rich people that can afford $10,000, $100,000, or $1 million bail. So what I would suggest, when a lot of people ask me, hold on, baby, go there. Sorry. When no, I need you to go, baby. Go close the door. Sorry. So working with kids. So what I would suggest, like when people ask me, she's gonna let criminals out, that's what we see on TV. That's actually a scare tactic commercial. So how about you call the campaign office, say, hey, I want to speak to this person, or hey, can I speak to the manager? Go to any event that they're having. Ask the question personally. Say, hey, I saw this on TV. I want to know, what is your take on it? Is this true or not? Don't just take the highlight and run with it. I don't know much about, the international policy or stuff like that, but I know a little bit. So I'm a, volunteer and stuff. I'm not a politician. So I guess Chol will be the one to actually answer that better, since you have more background into that. But what I would suggest is that do your research, know who you're voting for, and don't just run with the highlight, and stop spreading, false news.
Thank you. I will get back to Chol on that, but I wanted to talk to my dear brother, Pious, on the issue of gerrymandering. I hate gerrymandering.
Right.
Gerrymandering, when they cut the district and put it to another district. So I live in Salt Lake City for 15 years. And the district that I was living, we have Jim Madison, who was a representative of that area. And all of a sudden, of course, Utah is very red state Republican. So what they have done, that district actually, Jim Madison has been winning it for a very long time and encourage minority to vote every time. But gerrymandering, actually, what they do, they will go and legislator in the state level, and then they will cut chunk of that district to another district in favor of Democratic, favor of Republican, which is discourage the voter, the minority voter, to go and vote. So I want to get your perspective on that, because in my opinion, that should be the priority when Joe Biden win the White House. That gerrymandering thing should be abolished, because actually discourage people. You feel like your vote doesn't make any sense. I want to get your perspective from that, and then tell us a little bit about character. Why our people need to know Joe Biden character is better than Donald Trump. Go ahead.
Well, I think gerrymandering is the unfair act of us. So every often, it's every 10 years or so.
Yes.
I'm not sure of the numbers. There's always redistricting, and the reason why redistricting happen is so that one part of a community does not vote to select someone that does not necessarily speak for the other side of the community. So every so often, state legislatures and to some extent federal government come together and create districts in their jurisdiction. And many a times, those who are in power, which is why it's almost always important to make sure that you vote for people who have your best interest into office. Because if it happened that there is redistricting this year, and the people that have your interest are not a lot in the legislative body that is going to do redistricting, then you are at a loss, because there's nobody to speak for you, right? Then the other party, and I think Republican does it more, but they all do it, right? So they create a map to give them advantage to ensure that the people that will vote for them are put in the same district, so that they will continue to. And if it is a district that they know that the other party is winning, so they will find a way to make the line go right into where that person is winning big, so that they will lose. So it is a legal way of creating advantage over your opponent. Is it okay? No. Is it ethically right? In my opinion, I think no. Yeah.
Yeah, and we recommend President, if Joe Biden elected, he should put that into consideration, because it discouraged me a lot. When I was in Utah, and Jim Madison, felt like, okay, I'm going to retire, because either way I'm not going to win if I run now, because that candidate from Utah County, because they cut this part and added to Utah County, that candidate is favored, because now he's the one that worked that one out. You should not lobby for the vote. The vote should choose the candidate. The candidate choosing the vote. That's really a dirty game, and it should not be. Okay, the another question that I was asking is the issue of character.
Right.
People, misunderstood this, and I have seen there's a lot of migrant African, South Sudanese Americans. Oh, Donald Trump, but they don't know about what's going on in the country. So, what is your advice to them?
My advice, our sister Jan Juba said something earlier, that before you support any candidate, even if it is the candidate that is coming from your own party, before you support any candidate, make sure that you how do we call it? You do your background check. What does this person believe in? The fact that we are wearing the same color, political color, does not mean that when you go deep, we have the same values, right? That is why you have primary. During primary, each person look at this. They are all on the same side, right? But you look at the candidates one after the other, and you say, okay, candidate A agree with me on one thing. Candidate B agree with me on two things. Candidate C agree with me with 5 things.
Yeah.
So I'm going to support for candidate C. If candidate C is not able to make it, pass the primary, and candidate B, who you can live with, right? How do we call it? Becomes the nominee, then you feel comfortable supporting them because at least you've done your due diligence by looking at the candidates, the slate of candidates that are put in front of you, and you've decided that you wanted C. C couldn't make it. B is the one that is closest to your values, and then you support them. And to be honest with you, there is no political candidate that is crystal clean. If you dig everyone, all of us are human beings. If you in the trunk and you do dig, there's something that you see and you say, I don't like this, right? But some of the things are obvious. Either the candidate have said it, or you've read it over and over, or if you look at the track record of what they've done and how they've lived their life, it will show you a lot of things about who they are and what they represent. Because what we do sometimes speaks volumes about what we say. And sometimes people can say whatever they want to hear so that they get your vote. Look at the person's track record. These days, it is easy. I'm speaking right now. If 10 years down the road I wanted to go higher, somebody would do what I said tonight.
Yes.
And that tells me that, on October 31st, 2020, you were on internet interview and you said this. We're not going to forget. Can you explain that? Do that. People have tons and tons and tons.
Correct.
Both two candidates that we have a lot of history. Just look at those history and then figure out who represents your values.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, Chol, I was talking a little earlier about the unity, and we know how, it become more polarized in this country, and how president, instead of uniting, this is what we know about America. When America in the time of crisis, I remember in 2007, when there were recession, President George W. Bush, before, Barack Obama come to win the election, it was sending message of unity, how to unite people. It's not about the party. It's not about that. It's about the person himself. It was a uniter, unite American people that we are in crisis, but we will get out of this. We will do this. Now, with this president, we have pandemic, and instead of answering questions from whoever concerned, like journalists, he started arguing with them. It doesn't send any message of unity. Okay, I want you to talk to our viewers, to encourage people, tell them exactly why Donald Trump is not a uniter here within the country, and also with the foreign, with allies, with it become more friend with adversary of the United States. You see that what he's doing with Kim Jong-un of Korea. You see what he did with Russia. These countries, right? They go there, they don't care about environment anyway. They don't care about human rights violation. And we know that the United States do care about all these things. So really, when you compare two candidates, what can you tell, those who really still in the middle, those independent voters who did not make up their mind? What do you need to tell them, with all they have seen? Go ahead, Chol.
So thanks again. So I always say this. I have been to a number of countries in the world. United States is the best country that I have been in. And I always say this: we did not cross ocean and travel 10,000 miles to come here for nothing. These countries stand for something.
Yeah.
That same principles that attracted us across the world and across the sea are still here. And if nothing else matters to you, you should vote on those principles. If nothing else matters to you, and if nothing else bother you where you live, you should vote on those. You should vote on those principles to protect them. Our government here in the United States was designed to protect welfare of the people and to protect the justice system. Okay, and within that welfare and justice system, there are vulnerable people, and our government job is to protect those vulnerable people. And within that government system, we elect leaders to protect that ideology and those principles and those philosophies. Okay? So that our vulnerable at most live their rights. That's why we elect our government and put the right people in place. Now, leadership matters. To be able to accomplish those philosophies and those principles and those right, leadership matters. Okay, and that's why it matters to who is in the White House to be able to protect that welfare system and to be able to protect that justice system. Now, I'm sure Donald Trump is a great human being. I don't know him as a person. I never met him. I never met him. And I'm sure he's a great person somewhere. But he has failed us as a leader. He has failed us as a leader. And let me go let me go as far as this.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has not protected the justice system. The justice system that protect the vulnerable. If Donald Trump is able to speak outright and criticize and make fun of vulnerable people, especially people with disabilities. If he's able to make fun of people like that, what kind of character does that say? I have already made my decision. And for those of you who are waiting to make their decision, you should vote on people character. Vote on people character. And our current president has shown that his character, I don't care if he's smarter than Einstein, his character has shown that he's no longer a president for vulnerables. Because when he first came to this presidency, he made sure that he did not protect those people by speaking against them, by making sure they look terrible. That is not the leader I want to follow. Nor should you. You shouldn't follow a leader like that because leadership matters, and it should matter who is in the seat. Now, remember why you came here. You came here because you thought that this was the best country on earth.
Yes.
Is it still so? Are your rights being protected? Are those rights being recognized? Joe and Kamala will do that for us. Biden and Harris' ticket is the ticket to go. Go vote. Express their right. And even if you are still not satisfied, please still go out there and vote because those rights that attracted us across the world need to be protected.
Thank you, Chol. And now let me go ahead to Jan Juba. Jan Juba, please, your final message to those who still did not make up their mind. We have only 3 days to go. And I mentioned this a little earlier. I did it today. So I get it out on my way. They still have a couple days here in the state of Washington. We still have Monday. They can go and vote early. So your final message to those people who are still undecided. Go ahead.
I don't know how can anyone be undecided in 2020 when we've been through hell for the past few years. I voted on the first day. I was the first in line for the first day when the early voting opened. I was the first one to go in there, and I'm like, I need to vote because it's just we've been going through a lot. And if you're a refugee, let's put it this way: for those who support Donald Trump, how do you support someone who, if you were not already here, he would not allow you to come to this country? How do you support someone who first time went against immigrant, went against a refugee, and went against the asylum seekers? So just because you save, it doesn't mean that you can give the other person a second chance. If it wasn't for a president who made a decision to allow us to come in here, you'd not be in this country to begin with. So now that you're here, you're enjoying all the food, you don't care about anybody else that's behind. That's being selfish. Why would you want to follow a leader that don't care about the elders, don't care about social security, does not care about our safety, actually support this, they call themselves Proud Boys. He support this, forgot what is their name, but the KKK. How are you supporting these type of people? But hey, to each his own. If that's what you are supporting, go for it. But if you are a sane person who care about your environment, you care about your state, you care about the safety of others, and you care about helping other people, I would suggest that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I will encourage you to go out and vote. Find out your voting polls. You can go to your state governor website, and you can find out where you can vote. And if you live in the same location since the last time you voted, your voting location should be the same place, you know. And just research. I mean, we only got 2 days left. in our state, tomorrow is the last day for early voting. On Monday, we don't have any voting locations, but on Tuesday, it will be the regular place that you usually vote in. So go out and vote, and let's go ahead and get Biden and Kamala into the office. We do need a good leadership. We need to go back to where we were before, because right now America has lost their first place, and every country's laughing at us. They're not laughing with us; they're actually laughing at us. So let's go ahead and get a better leader that can actually lead us and not just divide us. And let's go ahead and put back the United in the United States.
Thank you so much, Jan Juba, for that word. Yes, we need to get out right now. We don't need to wait. We cannot afford to wait. We cannot afford 4 more years of Donald Trump. We already have stress. We do already have stress. So, my dear brother, Pious, I want to give you the last word, to the voters. People did not make up their mind. South Sudanese American, Ghanaian American, Nigerian American, all the African migrant who live in this country. It's not just enough to have carry a U.S. passport and travel with it without participating in politics in this country to make decisions. Please, your last message to them so they can go and vote.
Thank you very much, and thank you everybody for the opportunity to speak to you, whether you are here or you're going to watch this later. So I think voting have there are so many reasons why you can vote. One is for yourself. One is for the community that you live in. One is for the future of your kids. If you look at the direction that our country is going right now, the type of leadership that we have in the White House, decide if that is the future that you want. Just 2 days ago, so because we are immigrants, I will speak about immigration. Just 2 days ago, I think it was on yesterday or on Thursday.
Yes.
The person who is in charge of the president's immigration policy, his advisor on immigration, was on NBC or one of the channels, and Mr. Miller was saying all sorts of terrible things that will happen to immigrants. They're going to change the way immigration work now. They are going to detain more families and their kids. They're going to do all sorts of terrible things to people whom we have shared values and shared lived experience. I always say that in order for me to come to this country, someone have to sacrifice, which is the African Americans. But also those who came here before me, who are immigrants, came here. If I just sit down and watch that opportunity taken away from someone that is coming from behind me, that speaks more about me than the president who is doing it. That means I'm even worse. Because if you have the ability to change wrongdoing by just waking up on Tuesday morning and then go and vote, and you don't do that, God, I don't know what kind of human being you are. So let's look around us. Let's look at what is happening and then do all we can. We have the power to do that. We have the ability. All we need to do is wake up on Tuesday, whether it is first thing in the morning, after lunch, or in the evening, before the polls close. Wherever you are in this country, you can do it. You can change the direction that we are going, because it is like we are in a train, right? And then there's a cliff ahead of us. And this train is going at a thunder speed, at a lightning speed. And all you can do is raise your hand and pull one of those brake strings to stop that train. And then you didn't do it. You are in the train. If it goes over that cliff, we're all going to die. But I don't want that to happen. And I hope that you will join me in voting for Biden and Kamala Harris, because that is the right candidate. Those are the ones that will redirect us towards some sort of normalcy. Other than that, this country will be done, and we are all in it, and we will be done with it as well.
Correct. Thank you so much, Pious, for that advice. We need to vote, and thank you for bringing up the issue of migration. I came here as a refugee in 2003, and I did not know one day I would be talking about the politics and issues, within the United States of America. Talking about that immigration, Donald Trump has spoken in public, said a lot of awful about, the refugees and migrants, that they flooded our country with refugees, and he restricted. As I speak to you now, there are some refugees who are supposed to be settled in the United States, in Egypt, and they are dying from Egyptian every single day. But they are holding a UN card. They have been approved actually to come here. But because the policy of Donald Trump restricted them, and that's why everything is frozen. So is that the person that you want to go back to the White House and continue restricting your relatives, your friends who wanted to come to this country and have an opportunity? I don't think so. That's why we need to go and vote him out. So thank you, Pious. I'll go to you, Chol. The last word from you, please. People live in Syracuse, New York, live in Atlanta, Georgia, in North Carolina, in Nebraska. I know we have a lot of South Sudanese America, in Utah, in Texas, in Arizona, in Dallas, all across. Your final message to them, because our people are not familiar with the issues. But this year is so different. We have seen it already. As my sister has put it, Proud Boys, KKKK, those white supremacists, they are proud of Donald Trump and his policies. Please send your last message to those voters so they can make up their mind. Go ahead.
So here's my message to everyone. Whether you like Donald Trump, whether you like Joe Biden, that doesn't matter. What matters is that your right is protected.
Yes.
Go and vote. Whether you like any of these candidates, that doesn't matter, because these candidates will pass. Okay? They will go. Their time will be over. But if you refuse to vote, you are actually shaping the future of our children through your vote. If you refuse to vote, you are basically telling our children that you don't care about their future, because the person who's going to hold office right now has a lot to do with what their future will look like. Okay? So that is the reason, if nothing else, that's the reason you should vote. Care about the future of your children and your community. Go vote. That's one. Number two, to those of us who came as refugees, to those of us who came as immigrants, okay, do you like Donald Trump? Ask yourself that question. Okay, that's the question for you. Take it home with you. Number two, do you like being a refugee? Now, I'm asking you to ask yourself those questions, because those questions, if they do not push you to go vote, I don't know what else will push you to go to vote. Okay, we became refugees, as I said earlier, because somebody where we came from did not care about the people they were governing, the people they were leading. Leadership matters. It matters who's in the leadership. Go ahead and vote. Vote to protect the rights of every person in this country. Go ahead and vote to protect your rights as a person. And your opinion as well. It matters. All of those matters. And those are symbolized through voting. Go ahead and vote. Do not let this election go by without voting. Whether you like a candidate or not, that should not dictate how you vote. Okay? You should always vote. Whether a candidate is a good candidate for you or not, vote, because those rights precede any leader. The right to vote precedes any leader. You should always vote. Go and vote so that this country does not become like the countries we came from.
Chol, ladies and gentlemen, let's leave it there. Thank you so much. I am honored to host you tonight and being here and talk about the real issues in this forum concerned citizens of South Sudan. Pious, Chol, Jan Juba, thank you so much. Have a lovely night there in the eastern coast of the United States. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, my dear brothers and sisters, for coming on and participating and being part of this. Tonight, it is so important. As I mentioned to you, if you were a refugee in this country, if you are a migrant, you came in lottery, you came in all sort of a migration, you have heard what Donald Trump has said. If you didn't care about anything else but care about that, you have a friend, you have a family member, you have people who wanted to come and have that opportunity that you have in this country, don't be selfish. And that's why I'm asking you, you and me and others, to join hands together and go and vote. We need to vote. We need to vote in Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, because they will change your life, your children's life, and make this country one of the most wonderful countries on earth, as always. So thank you so much for watching this. Thank you for being part of Concerned Citizens of South Sudan. Good night from Washington. See you next week.